This is Douglas Noble with the NABWMT History and Legacy Project, and we're here in Long Beach, California, in the home of Ken Barron and Mack Scott, to interview these two men who in 2004 founded the BWMT Southern California chapter and have been attending NA conventions ever since. Well, welcome to our project.
Thank you.
What brought you in contact with Black and White Men Together initially? What?
For me, it was in 1984. I went to one of the BWMT LA rap groups. I think it was on a Saturday at the old center, and I had just so happened Phil Wilson was facilitating that night. I don't even remember the topic, but that was my first contact.
Well, I guess for me it was in 04. I decided to help my start up the group.
And what brought you to that point to begin the group? How did it happen? When it happened?
Well, it's a famous local story. I went to a group in Los Angeles that was ostensibly a African American group that looked at African American history, culture, and commerce. And I was going with Mack, and I was asked not to come. So that incident kind of irritated both of us. And so I think it inspired Mack to think about his past and for us to restart a chapter in the Southern California area based in Long Beach.
Did you have any knowledge of previous chapters in Long Beach?
I have. No.
So how did you go about doing that?
Well, we contacted the National first time around, and they sent us a little red package, a little red book, which was an introduction to how to start up a chapter. So we ignored that, and then we moved on to looking at what the area needed in terms of a gay, friendly group that would relate interracial relationships.
Actually, I think Paul Peter sent us something, or he referred to it.
So did you have meetings here before you ever attended a national convention? Had you actually formed a chapter?
No, I don't think we did. That was shortly after Atlanta convention. That was our first. We got all excited about starting our chapter.
So that was your first BWMT event, the national convention in 2004? Is that right?
Other than the rap group in LA, together, yes.
So what was it like? What was your first NA meeting like? What impressions did it make upon you, if any?
For me, it was really exciting. You could feel that there was some many connections. People were close. People were intense on some levels, but yet you could sense that they really related to each other and they wanted to share their point of view, express their point of view, and they wanted to overcome barriers that we have as gay, black and white men.
And that for me was the only time I went to the Institute sessions in groups, which were really kind of different and exciting. I've done it on a business basis, but relating to gay organizations and gay ambitions and interracial harmony. It was pretty interesting.
When you say the Institute, can you explain a little more about what that is?
Well, you know more about it than we do. BMI.
That's true, but I'm not being interviewed.
BMI is the organization is a pretty reputable group that goes out in the community and develops seminars, topics, and discussion groups to look at the effect of racism and its intolerance in society and bring forth meaningful solutions to that at an average individual and group level, and is very successful. One of the most successful things I understand in the organization.
I think it was the Multicultural, Multiracial Institute at that time.
Right, before it was renamed the Bushmallow
Yeah.
Institute. What was the workshop like that you attended? Was it on a specific subject, or how did
Yeah, it actually bricks in a wall, and how the mortar represents the emotions that put together people's characteristics and interaction. And the workshop, I can't remember the title.
Building bridges.
That was in Pittsburgh, but this particular workshop was
Whether
whether, and it became germane for the BWMT-SB later, whether or not you spend all your time looking at black and white issues, or looking at harmony with other groups and using other groups to be able to put forward a united front, bigger resolution of issues that are in front of us. It was interesting, probably to what we were doing in the group 2 or 3 years later. We'll talk about that later, I think.
Did you think that people were pretty open and honest about their feelings in the workshop you went to?
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe.
I think it was a safe environment. I think people felt very free to express themselves honestly and openly.
Is there anything else of particular note from that first convention that you remember?
Hot and humid, lots of restaurants, torrential rain. So actually, the Sunday was
No talent show.
no talent show was good one. But it's just friends that we got and so know.
So following that convention, you came back here and you went about actually forming a chapter? And how'd you do that?
I think after we read the little, what do we call it, brochure, and got our bylaws and all of that, I think Ken started a website. He went online and started this website, and I think within days we had people calling. We put our phone number on our email, and they called, and then we used to do things on Thursdays. We did a rap session at the Long Beach Gay and Lesbian Center, and that was pretty successful, so we just continued that.
So you formed formally an organization?
Yes, we did.
And I guess at a certain point you affiliated in with the National.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that happened. It seems like what we did was take the bylaws from the national and customize it for a local event. The bank needed that, so we could open the bank account as an association. And we had called Paul Hawkins in the office and he in Sunset. So it kind of just morphed into an organization that somehow related to the national organization. It helped us on the website, putting in their charter and things like that.
So how did the chapter here develop? What kind of events did you do over the years to expand your membership?
Let's see. Lots of potlucks. We had movie nights. We had bowling. We had restaurant nights. We had picnics, which were very successful. We did Memorial Day picnics. We did, I think that first Christmas we had, we called it a foundling Christmas. We had it here. We fixed the main course and people brought food, and that was very successful. So it made us feel good. We felt like we were really providing a service.
Did you find that people of different ages were coming, or was it predominantly young people, or middle-aged, older?
Well, we got around 20 years old, but mostly 30 plus, I think. And that's been the pattern, I think, for the last 3 or 4 years.
Some of those people had been involved, I guess, a long time ago in the chapter in LA.
Yeah, we had, I would say at least 6 to 7 people that had been affiliated with the LA group.
Mm-hmm. Well, how,
Black and white has Mack got for Christmas 1 year ago. And
I think that came on as I pressed record. Harmony?
Harmony, yeah. What's her name?
She's
On that
participating. So, you have come to the 2 subsequent conventions in Pittsburgh, and of course the one that you hosted, which we'll talk about. What if anything was your impression of the Pittsburgh convention? Did you have any different feelings at that second convention than the first one? Was there something that stuck with you?
Pittsburgh, to me, was all work, because we had at that stage decided we were going to host the convention, the Aerospace Convention. So we were spending most of our time signing people up, recruiting people, organizing networking. So for me, I don't know, it was as exciting as Atlanta. We did go to the North Talent Show. We went to most of the events, but I think by the time we finished organizing, we were really tired most evenings.
Well, I did like the opening where they had the young group of gays, mostly men. I think they were all men, and they were talking about the use of the N-word and the dialogue that went back and forth between the older gays of African descent and the younger ones, and how they felt like, oh, it's not offensive, it's just, it's just a word, and it was pretty heated, I felt. But I enjoyed that convention.
Well, now, you were only a chapter really for a year before you decided to host a national convention. How did that affect your chapter? Do you think it helped your chapter grow, or do you think it might have been a hindrance, or do you think it just was part of the scene that you just did in the ordinary course of business?
I think we were fortunate. We had really a core group of people that really, I mean, with all of it, everything we did, we planned and we organized and we saved money because we knew we had to do that, and they really supported that. All we had to do was say, we're doing this to raise money for the convention, and people came out and supported. They brought their friends, and we raised a lot of money, and then when the actual convention came about, we had more people than we ever imagined come up and wanted to volunteer to actually assist us, and that made it easier for us to be the convention co-chairs. It really worked out well.
Do you think that holding it has actually strengthened the chapter?
I think so.
I think certainly in the local community, we're getting a lot more people. The convention plus the booklets and I think just the recognition from that helped us in the local community. We get people who are contacting us because of newspaper articles or publications. They know that we can put up an event,
Well, what for you was the most memorable part of the convention that you hosted? What really stood out? And what didn't?
It actually was a blur most of the time during the day. Phil Wilson's banquet speech was awesome, but it was kind of nerve-wracking because he arrived late, as is usual with Phil. But he did at that time regalvanize, I thought, the convention into thinking that, quote, it's a black and white issue, and I remember things from that event. Just the idyllic setting was a great choice for the meeting, and everybody helped us feel comfortable and with a resort-like environment. And the comments afterwards, we were able to get back a lot of personal notes and comments that said it was one of the best conventions they've been at. So that was really helpful, I think, in terms of saying, yes, we finally got it over with, and we did a good job.
Well, for me, I have to mention the Single Mingle that I co-hosted with John Namath, one of our members. I was really, really pleased. The bar that we had it at was very receptive. They provided us a lot of things for the group, and we had more people than I imagined show up. And this was on a Thursday, early afternoon, I believe. And we had, 60 people show up, and I thought we might get 15. So that was really good. And everybody seemed to really enjoy it, and they wanted to keep it going. So that made me feel good.
Well, in your brief time in this organization, how would you say that being involved in this has affected your life?
I think it's enriched my life, and being able, for me, to see other people in the organization, they're interracial couples, and they're handling the same issues that we are. So it's been very positive. Again, taking from scratch, you feel like you have a second family, certainly in the area, that you can talk to and have safe conversations with. but at a national level, you can also have friends and you don't with it. It's a very good social feel to be able to do that.
I think it's enriched my life, our lives together, and my life personally. I mean, it's given me something to really look forward to. Before we got into this group, I was involved in soccer, and Ken supported me in that. But once we got involved with this, this kind of took on a life of its own, and I spent a lot of my energy, our energy together, getting this group going, and I haven't felt like I sacrificed anything, even though I had given up soccer after all my life. I didn't feel like I was making a sacrifice.
So the people you've met in this organization were all people that you have met since you formed the chapter, right? Like, these were not any people that you knew before.
No.
Have you, in your brief time here, have you seen AIDS affect this organization, or is it such a small time frame?
No, it's peripheral, I think, to our members right now. We know our members, some of them are compromised, immune compromised. We know that they feel very strongly about it, and we know they need support. And many of them, I have friends that have been involved, but I don't think we've seen the early disaster. I had
Like the 80s.
Like the 80s and the early 90s, where medications weren't available to at least make it a chronic problem. But we still maintain an interest in that, maintaining the part of our church.
Yeah, we have an AIDS food store at our local church, and they've been our beneficiary. We've done fundraisers for them that have been successful. We both have participated in the Long Beach AIDS Walk. I've done the LA AIDS Walk, and so we try to be involved. We know what it's important.
Do you feel the chapter has been a place where people who are, as you say, compromised can openly discuss and share? Is that?
Yeah, our rep sessions cover that, but I don't think it's a big driving force. We continually have to remind ourselves it's still a major problem worldwide, and I think part of my association with the group is that we really ought not to forget that, and we know all, but don't see enough gays, particularly black young gays that have HIV positive status, and they're having difficulties. It's still not been eliminated like polio. But it still needs to be in our heart and spirit, I think, of being a gay man's disease that's becoming worldwide a difficult thing to navigate.
I want to go a little far afield, since you haven't been in the organization that long, but you've obviously experienced black and white issues. Now, Ken, you're from Manchester, England, originally, and Mack, you're from San Diego, right?
Correct.
Ken, how have you experienced in the United States, and I don't remember how long you've been here, but it's been quite a while, how have you experienced race relations in this country vis-a-vis where you grew up?
I'm a white guy, so in the States I haven't seen as much as Mack. He can give you a little more of a profile on it. In England, not until I recently went back, there were people of color in the town where I was born, but it was mostly Caucasians in my city, a small working class city. I happened to grow up in a family that was very tolerant, but not exposed to racial issues, although there was an undertone there, not until I came to the States. And in fact, also I met Mack in my 50s, whereas I really thoughtful about it. And likewise, I wasn't thoughtful about the ethnocentricity of race and race relationships. So for me, it's something relatively new. I read newspapers, but when you're an African-American partner, it makes a radical difference. So it was a catch-up for me, basically, having to figure out just how bad this was. I brought up in Berkeley, so I'm in the 70s, so I'm very tolerant, I think, about culture and diversity. On the other hand, I didn't know the specifics of black-white interface. That's maybe very difficult. And this has been actually a bonus for me to be able to rewind my life and figure out there's not just white people around, but there's other people of color that have been through the situation.
And
And
you've been together the last, 7 years?
Yeah.
You want to add something?
Oh, Well, you know, when
Everything?
as an African American, yes. I mean, you grow up. It's pervasive in your life. I mean, you grow up as a child knowing that you're African American. This is, my parents were both from the South, so I know the history, their history, our family history, and a lot about the culture. And it always, I mean, even now as an adult, I don't experience daily, not blatant racism or anything, but it's always in the back of my mind. I substitute teach, and people will always say, well, how come you always look so professional? Well, for one, I like to be professional, but for another, if I'm going to a strange school, and I'm always, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, if I show up with just a strange black man in an elementary school in jeans and a t-shirt, it's going to draw, people are going to be thinking, maybe I overthink it, but I always thought, they're going to wonder, who's this person? Why is he here? I don't know, I think when your skin is dark, there's always something in your psyche that focuses on it.
Did you grow up in an interracial area, or were you primarily?
It was predominantly white for the first 10 years of my life, and then it became more Latino, Asian, but predominantly white for the first.
So you've dealt with interracial issues all your life?
Yeah.
Have you, you were both together for at least, 4 years before you entered this organization. Has being in this organization changed your perspective or given you any different perspective or experience in interracial issues or racial issues?
Well, for me, this is not my first interracial relationship. I had another partner who was also from England. We were together 5 years. I dated, other men of European descent, but I think because we were both mature when we got interested in this organization, really, I think we brought a different sensibility to it. What do you think?
Well, I think the question revolves around just how old you are and just how much you want to spend the time to learn about culture. And in my case, it was 7 or 8 years learning to live with somebody from a different culture, no color apart. But there are overlapping things that we find not only in our partnership, but in the people in the group. We have some couples that are interracial, and that kind of stabilizes you. It gives you a foundation to understand what's happening. It gives you some wisdom, even in a short amount of time, to say, well, we've been through that too. So it's kind of a nice keystone to be able to help people based on what we've gone through as an interracial couple, analyzing other people's situations. So it's been beneficial from that viewpoint. But again, from my side, unlike Mack, I probably have more to learn in terms of understanding other people's cultures and understanding the double whammy of being gay and black in America. So that's, again, it's an educational thing for me, which we pass on to people in the group if we can.
Well, what have you liked most about this organization? Both either on a local level or a national level. And also, conversely, what have you liked?
The camaraderie, I have to say the most. I just feel it. You feel like you have you bring some of the same experiences, the same feelings to the group, locally and nationally, that for a large part of your life, you never felt like there was anybody that could really identify with what you were feeling. And then when you get together with the people in the group or the national, you see, they have the same type of experiences that we have. And, it's nice to have that, to know that there's somebody that has experienced some of the same issues that you experienced, has to go through a trial, tribulation, whatever.
Yeah, then Mack's right. It's a common denominator. Every black person in our chapter and likely in the national have had some traction and relationship and understanding of African American and vice versa. So you always have that common denominator you can relate to. It's like going to a cocktail party. You can always have that one joke, that one incident, and it gives you permission in a way to kind of get closer to African Americans in their world and vice versa. And, you know, you can have an off-color, pardon the fun joke about things like that, which is kind of fun. So we found them very friendly and understanding. And since we're in such a niche relationship, all of us, where you have to look around for people to empathize with and who will understand your situation, then this is it. And if you accept the group for its foibles and everything else, that's good. The not so good thing about it is the age factor seems to be a real concern for the national, not for me and not for our chapter, but it seems like we're frantically, as a national organization, trying to either redo ourselves, reinvent ourselves because of the longevity of the organization, which is, you know, to be proud of. But you get that feeling that we really have not a strong place in society, and I think we do. So we tend to be a little bit kind of depressed about that to a certain extent. Don't you think?
I'm not quite sure I understand this. Are you saying because our membership is aging, that's the source of this, or is...
Yeah, we seem to be continually, certainly aging, but we seem to be continually looking at our past and what was forward, how other things that we can do. Mm-hmm. And we don't want to accept the fact that we can't grow. We don't want to accept the fact that we are a small group sometimes, and that's okay. Compared with one of the big organizations, and we get kind of jealous of the large organization when we don't need to, and that sort of a lack of esteem for ourselves and our group kind of frustrates me sometimes.
We've had that issue on the local chapter level too. Sometimes the people say, "Oh, we threw this event and we did all this work." Like last year, there was a big, I think it was Memorial Day. Yeah, we were in England for the wedding, and they did our annual Memorial Day picnic. Well, they changed locations, but they advertised and they got all the food, and apparently they got the usual 30 to 40 people, but they expected more, and so they were somewhat disappointed that they didn't get these huge crowds of people. And we said, you can't judge things on their success just by the number of people that show up.
So it's an entitlement that sometimes people think they ought to have, because they're working on something justifiable, because we're talking about things that ought to be right, we all ought to be in harmony, we're not. And then, as a result, you think things should stick together and get bigger and bigger. But we have been very proud of our organic growth, where people come, comes back to our group, and we just view it as a family, and families go away. And we have our prodigal sons that come back. And I think only because maybe of our maturity and our age, really, we're able to do that and take a step back and say, well, this is the way it is. And you can't force these things to happen.
And I think it's worth noting, too, remember, we've always recognized, it seems like every event we have, there's always a new person that shows up. And to me, I think that's a good thing there. That means the message is getting out, or people are curious about us, or coming to find us. So I can't think of one event that we've had that we haven't had somebody that was new.
Well,
before
we're both educators, and if you find yourself in a situation often saying, if you can just influence one person, in this case, a student, then things are good. And tomorrow they might be better. And likewise in the group, as Mack says, we reach at least one person a month. And if we keep doing that, and if everyone enjoys it, and they become part of an extended family.
And members-wise, if I'm the treasurer, we do get at least one member a month.
And I gather by what you've been saying and what you said earlier that this crosses age lines. You have people from different ages. And I would like to ask you, because as you well know, the national, a lot of the people have been around forever and ever, and there's been this continual concern at the national level that we aren't getting a lot of new, younger members. And do you have any secret you could share with us? Anything that you think makes